Hello everybody and welcome to me trying to do a homework assignment. We'll see how it goes. Today I'll just be trying to go over, so I have this homework example right here. I haven't done it yet. I have no idea what to expect, but what I can say is that I should be able to use logic and my knowledge of Java in order to be able to complete this assignment. So let's actually go over what this assignment is. So you can see here, write a program to input a number of students, then to input a grade for each student and to count the A's, B's, and C's, and D's, and F's, and display the counts, initialize the 5 variables A through F, and set them all to 0, then use the statements to decide which of the 5 to increment, all in the body of the loop. And then we have the grading scale, the 7-point grading scale here. Then you have all of the different types of grades that you can possibly get. So let's go through, well, this is just an example, right? So let's go through, and what we're going to need is a for loop. So I kind of wrote down a little bit. I haven't wrote down much, obviously. I wrote down a little bit. So let's go through. To start off, we said we need a number of students, which is where I did it right here, system.out.print int grade count, console.nextInt. So this is going to count our number of students, and then we're going to have our looping structure right here. So we're going to have for. And I believe the order of the for loop is initialization. So we have our for grade count is equal to 0. Oh, sorry, no. For, hold on. For I equals grade count. So we're creating a new variable right here, right? So for I equals grade count. I might actually have to go back and look at the for loop because I haven't done it in a minute. So give me just a second to look back at one of my earlier assignments in the hopes of figuring out what it is. So I have TextPad. I'm using my other computer, so you can't see this on the screen. But give me 1 second, please. I say that, but I'm just going to cut this part out of the video. The part where I'm, like, trying to figure out how to use a for loop. I think I'm just going to have to look up TextPad. So we have nested if then else. Yeah, let's see what this does. Because I know I've used the for loop before. I might go on W3 Schools and figure out a little bit more about the for loop. Because I don't necessarily need to use the for loop, but I think the for loop would be the most useful. So let's go on to W3 Schools just in case. JavaScript for loop. Yeah. We are talking about JavaScript. So we have the initialization, the end condition, and the update variable, or the update condition, or something like that, right? If num1 is less than num2, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, well, I'm looking back and forth at my different types of... I'm looking back and forth between my two computers, right? So, some of the stuff you can't see what I'm looking at. But let's say for loops through block code, yeah. So we have the update condition. Let's copy and paste this and then adjust it for our assignment. So we have for I equals 0. Yeah, because we want it to be, let's start it off at 0, and then as long as it's less than grade count, and it's going to increment. So it'll do it as many times as it takes to reach grade count. Well, it'll start at 0, so I could do it at 0. Well, it's incrementing by 1, so this way it works too. Okay, So now we can do our if-then kind of cycle thing, right? Because I have an if-then thing, but it's for JavaScript and not Java. Well, I mean, I could look at that potentially as a reference. This is fine though. This is fine. So, integer year. No, this isn't going to be year. This is going to be integer grade equals console.nextInt. So this is going to be a breaker right here. This is going to be our little code. So it's going to keep doing this. This is system.outPrint, and then after that, this is going to be system.out.println. That way we move on to the next line. And it's going to keep doing this for as many times as it needs to. So let's double check and make sure there's no errors in the code before you continue further. System.out.println. What do you mean? Looping.java14. What do you mean? Oh, it's because I need this, don't I? My bad. For I equals... Do I need to initialize the I? I thought this is part of the initialization, is that it's just an I. Oh no, I do need var I. And this is for... Oh, this is for JavaScript, not Java. So, I guess I'll just say int I. How about that? Right. Theoretically, this should work. Because this one's for JavaScript, but it works the same way. So enter number of students, let's say 2. Enter your year, which is not incorrect, but that's okay. Let's say 20 and 20. Actually, you know what? It already moves on to the next line, doesn't it? So I take it back. I don't need this theoretically. Maybe. Well, I don't know. What I do know is that I need to enter this student's grade or whatever, right? Student's grade. Okay. Well, this doesn't... I don't know if it'll move on to the next line. It does move on to the next line, presumably. Yes, it does. Perfect. Okay, so, cool. I wasn't sure if it did that or not, but it does. Okay, so after you get the values, this is going to be for I equals 0, and then this is going to be I for I equals 1, right? So, how am I going to do this? What is exactly the goal, right? Okay, so now we need to do like an if-then complex structure kind of thing, right? So we'll have if grade is less than... Well, let's assume that grade is... Okay, we're going to assume that grade is between 0 and 100. So we can start from the top to the bottom, right? So we could say if it's greater than 93, right? If grade is greater than 93, because it can be above 100, but it can't be above 0. It can't be below 0. So that's fine. If grade is less than 93, then... Oh, you know what? We need a grade value, don't we? We need a grade car or something, a grade character. Or we could just do a string. I think a string would be more useful. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we need to initialize the variables A, B, C, and D. And right. So we need int A, int B, int C, int D, and int F. So these are all going to be the variables, and it's going to tell us how many A's, B's, C's, and D's, and F's that we have, and then in the system.out.print in the end, that's when we'll do it right. So, If grade is above 93, then we'll say, let's just do this for the sake of consistency. Let's say A plus plus. The number of A's is 0. Oh, you know what? Int A equals 0 is what we need, right? Int A equals 0. I forgot to do that part. What the hell are you doing? Okay, so A plus plus. There we go. Else if grade is greater than... So if it's not greater than 93, then it'll test and see if it's greater than 85. Presumably, assuming that this code works. If grade is greater than 85, presumably I don't need this little extra stuff here. Well, we'll see. B++. And let's code all of this. Let's copy all of this code. And copy, copy, copy. So we'll change this to C, to D, to F, and then we'll do else system.out.print some kind of error, right? So, what is the grade point scale? It's 93, 85, 77, 70. I remember when I had to do the grade point scale. If it's greater than 0. Or greater than or equal to 0. Is it greater than or it's greater than or equal to? Oh. Does that go to like a 93.5 would count, huh? Yeah, okay. So greater than or equal to is what I'm going to need to do. Oops. Greater than or equal to 0. And then F++ else system.out.print. You entered an invalid number. Enter your number of students. Enter the student's grade from 0 to 100. But if it's above 0, well, yeah, I mean, 0 to 100 is presumably the limit, right? Yeah, 0 to 100. Yeah. So it's greater than 93. But 103 would technically work. So I guess I could do an OR statement, right? Or I could just do else if grade is less than or equal to greater than or equal to or greater than 100, or grade is less than 0. You entered an invalid. You entered an invalid grade integer. Please enter a valid integer value. Please enter a valid integer value. No. Okay, so Presumably this should all be good. Let me do an end bracket thing here. So it'll go through all of this, and then it will, right, let's see. What I could do is that, where it'll increment it with every single thing, right? And then, after the fact, we can do another system.out.print, presumably. System.out.print. And what is the okay. So it would be like A plus hold on. Let's think about the syntax of the sentence I'm about to write. Enter grade. So your grades are equivalent to, or something like that. Or your grades have the grades of your students are and then we'll say plus A plus, and then S A's. Is that right? A's? Yeah. This is a really weird thing to write down. Okay. And then this. So, 1, 2. I kind of lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then we're just going to simply change this to B, C, D, no, D's. Oh, you know what? Twos? Yeah. No. I gotta get rid of this. This doesn't make any sense. Because this is just the number. D's and then F's. And this is the context of the logical operator for logical operators Java. I'm going to assume that is what it is. It is OR, right? Yeah, logical OR. X is less than 5 or X is greater than 5. Because that's what I did in the other thing, but that was JavaScript, so I wanted to double check. Alright, so presumably this should work. Let's take a look. So let's say 2. Let's say 4. Oh, it looks like it's working. I messed up here. So let me remove that, because that's awkward. Did I just do this, like, immediately? Was that really, that's what it was? So let's say 5. Let's say we have 5. Let's say 93, 90, 84, 76, and 20. 1 A's, 1 B's, 1 A's, 1 B's, 1 C's, 1 D's, 1 F's. So does it matter, like, the fact that it looks weird? No, that's how it looks in the thing. 1 D's and 1 F's. So never mind. I think I just nailed it perfectly. In like 20 minutes. Dude, I am so good with Java, bro. Holy Christ. I nailed it first try. I didn't even have to troubleshoot it. Let's just double check. Let's go through and make sure. Let's say enter number of students. So if I do 100 and 1,000. It didn't do that thing that I was hoping it would do. Well, Yeah, well, it says else if. Yeah. Okay, so never mind. It does take some troubleshooting. I see. 1,000. Oh. Whoa! I was about to do it for 1,000 students. Whoa! Whoa! Oh man. So I don't know why. I guess, yeah, what it does is it goes to this right here and it says, is it greater than... Okay, so clearly I need to put this in the front. So, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's 1,000 students. Ooh, we'd be here for a minute. Oh, Christ. Okay, so we don't need this after all. So we can just do if and else if. Oops. So presumably this should actually function. So let's say number of students 1, the grade is 1,000. Okay. You entered an invalid grade integer. Please enter a valid integer value. I see. Okay. So what I could do is add all a test condition. Well, okay, how about this? Let's say integer test condition. Right? Integer test condition equals 0. Actually, no. Let's say it is equal to a plus b plus c plus d plus f. A plus c plus d plus z plus f. Integer. Okay. So then we'll do if test condition is greater than 0, then it'll do this. What? Oh, yeah, right. Sorry. Wait, no. Oh, yeah. I see. Because it'll add them all together, and if it's greater than 0, what is going on here? Hold on. Error if test condition. Oh, right, because I need a... Yeah, right, fair enough. Alright, enter number of students 1. Let's say I enter 101 again. Then it'll say you entered an invalid grade integer. Please enter a valid integer value. Okay? So, let's try that again. Let's say enter number of students is 1, and let's say the grade they got is 100.
Different vags and...
Oops, my bad. 100. The grades of your students are. Okay, there you go. So there you go. That's just there to make sure that if you mess up, it'll tell you how you messed up. So if enter grade counts and finishes, enter your number of students. I don't think, presumably, that I need a test value to make sure that this is good. I'm pretty sure that this is good. Because if it wasn't good, then, it's whatever. So if I said enter your number of students, what I could do is an if condition, right? Where it's like, if... No, I would need this to be after the fact. Yeah. I don't think that would be worth it. I think this is fine. Also, I need to change this because this is from the last one. So this is well, let's just copy and paste that. Okay, so let's double check and make sure that the values are exactly what they need to be, because it's 93, right? So let's say 5. So let's say 93, 85, 77, 70. Oh, I typed in too quickly. 70 and 69. All right, perfect. All right, good. Actually, before we quit and assume that everything's good, let us make sure, let's say entered number of students 3, and let's say we have 2 valid numbers, and let's throw in a 1,000. Oh, okay. I see here. See, I didn't think about that, huh? Yeah. Because that's one of the ones that doesn't... That's one of the ones that doesn't fit. So, how about this? Let's change it up a bit. How about this? Int grade equals console.next and say. So, let's split this into 2 parts, right? Let's say that it does 2 things. And the second thing it does is... Let's say we could have it as a Boolean value of 1, right? So what we need here is to move this int test condition up. Oops. Yeah. Int test condition equals... Let's say int test condition equals 0 by default. So if this is the case, then it'll do this, and it'll say test condition plus plus, because it'll increment the test condition. So if test condition is... Or we can make this do minus minus. Yeah. And if the test condition is greater than 0, right? Because otherwise this will be negative. If this is the case, then this will be negative, and thus this will not work. So, if we do this, shouldn't be any issues. Let's say 3 students. Let's say 40, and then let's throw in a mixed bag and say that. Why is it doing that? Oh, you know what? Because it's... Right. So... Hmm. Okay. Let's build this into it again. How about this? Because it's gonna keep doing the thing, and then it's gonna say, yeah. So if, because this is part of the for loop, so it'll loop back, but we already have an invalid value, so. Um. How would that work? Because I want it to not do the thing. I could do like a break statement somewhere in there. Okay. Christ. I wanted to stop the loop. But it doesn't matter, I'm going to break it in the first thing, so yeah. That's fine. Okay. How do I get it to stop the loop? Does it even matter? It would be nice if it stopped the loop and didn't continue with this question. So I guess what it would be is that this would all be a sub-sectioned thing, right? There's probably an easier way to do this, but I'm a noob, so bear with me. Also, I don't need this right here. Okay, so this will be a big if statement. All of this will be an if statement. So if test condition is greater than 0, it'll do all of this. Okay, and then after the fact, after it does the entire loop, if test condition is greater than 0, then this. Else system.out.print. Okay. This should work. So it's saying if, oh, I did an error here, my bad. This is all part of the thing, my bad. So this is all part of the same thing right here. So if, and then all of this, if test condition is greater than 0, else it'll print this. What is this a break of? The for loop? Yeah, I think this is a break of the for loop, so I'll just put a line there just so it's clear. For, and then if test condition is greater than 0, which in this case it is, oh, I guess I want it to be greater than or equal to 0. Okay. Number of students, 2. And 1,000. This should say, you entered an invalid grade integer, please enter a valid integer value. And it did not continue on to the next line. So, let's finish it up, right? 3. Let's say the values are 140 and 89. There, perfect. The grade of your students are 1A's. The grades of your students are 1A's, 1B's, 0C's, 0D's, and 1F's. There we go. And that's the context. That's the context. That's the syntax of this thing right here, right? It says 1D's, so that's fine. I don't have to say if it's specifically 1, it won't say plural. Like, we might say 1F, but it'll say 1F's, and that's fine, right? Okay, so the reason why this works, obviously, is because when you have this test condition right here, this is basically, so going through and explaining everything that's going on here, right? This is asking for your input, enter your number of students. This is going to be basically this grade count right here. It's going to be console.nextInteger, which is what you're going to type in. So whatever you type into the console, it will make that value become grade count. Then we initialize all of these variables right here. It doesn't really matter when we do this, as long as we do it above this. This could be above here, it doesn't really matter. It's just important that we do that. Same with this test condition right here, because it has to be above all of this, right? So then we have our for loop. That way we can keep having the different values be integrated with different types of things, right? So for I equals 0, basically, like I said, this is right here, this I equals 0 here. This is the initialization thing. This is the end condition, and this is the update condition. I equals 0, this is just a new number, right? Like I said, I is a new number I created just for the purpose of fulfilling the loop. For I equals 0, as long as I is less than grade count, because it's going to start at 0 and it's going to go to grade count, right? So it'll start at 0. Let's say grade count is 3. So it'll go like 1, 2, and then 3, right? It'll go from 0, and then it'll go 1, 2, and then 3. And when it reaches 3, it'll stop. So actually, technically, it'll start with 0, and then it'll do 1, and then it'll do 2. But that doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what I is. It doesn't matter if it's exactly 0, exactly 1, as long as it's the same amount, right? So then, with all of this, we have the if test condition is greater than or equal to 0. To start off with, it's obviously going to start off with 0, so we're going to all succeed. This is going to succeed. Then it's going to tell us to enter this student's grade from 0 to 100. And then integer grade is going to be the console.nextInt. So whatever you typed in as your grade right here, that it'll go, or whatever you typed into the console right here, it'll become this new value grade. Then it's going to go through all of these if conditions right here. So if the grade is greater than 100 or less than 0, then test condition will go down. That's going to be important in just a second. Then it'll say, if it's above 93, so we'll start from whatever value, right? It'll say if it's greater than 100 or less than 0. So it'll start from if it's above 93. If it's above 93, then it's an A++. Okay, well, if it's not above 93, then we move on to the next thing. What if it's above 85? Is it above 85? If so, B++. That increases our integer for B. Okay, is it above 77? If so, it increases the C value. And it does start at 77, right? 77 to 84 is a C. Yeah, okay. So 77 does count as a C, which is what I figured, because that's how it was. Else if grade is greater than 70, then greater than or equal to 70. Sorry, this is all greater than or equal to. Else if grade is greater than or equal to 70, in which case it'll be a D. So basically what this essentially means is that if it's greater than or equal to 70, but not greater than or equal to 77, then you're essentially saying if it's between 70 and 77, but not including 77. And then last but not least, else. I could theoretically put else if grade is greater than or equal to 0, but that's not necessary because the only way it could work is if it was, since I already specified that it can't be below 0 and above 100, or at least we already clarified what would happen if that was the case, then it goes all the way down here. Because it goes in this specific order, obviously. Because it'll do this, and since this is an else if, it won't do this one. If this one is not complete, then it'll do this one. If this one is complete, then it'll just skip to the end and won't do this one. That's how the else and else ifs works, right? So, if it does get test condition minus minus, then this loop will not continue because this test condition will be not less than or equal to 0. I know there's like a Boolean way of doing it, but this is the way I did it because I am not smart with it when it comes to Boolean stuff. So else system.out.print. So assuming that test condition is not, because this is, like I said, this is all part of the if. This right here is all part of the if condition, right? So I think what would make more sense is if I did this. And then that way you know that this is part of the, well, I guess that would make more sense, yeah. Else system.out.print. Well, that wouldn't really help. Well, you would know that this is part of the for. This is all part of the for loop. So I guess you could all tab these inward. I don't think it's necessary. You get the idea. If test condition is greater than or equal to 0, which if it wasn't, then you wouldn't be here. So I guess this isn't necessary. But you never know, just in case, just to double down and make sure. Because sometimes you need to double down and make sure. So presumably, this is good. I should get 100 on this project. I don't see anything wrong with any of the code here. Let's say that number. That's also not a number. Whoops. Yeah, that's my bad. Oh, shit. Enter number of students, 1,654. I mean, luckily it won't really matter. If I do that, then it'll say error. Oh, Lord. Let's... Oh, lordy. Okay. I messed up big time. Allowed output limit reached. Well, that's definitely a good thing. That's a thing. There should probably be a cap. And whatever. Here's what I'll say, right? If you put in a number of students as more than, like, 10, or more than, like, 30, you're doing yourself. I don't know what to do for you, man. I don't know. That's none of my business. Let's do one last double check and make sure. So let's say number of students 2, and let's say they both got 100, right? Two A's. Okay, just double checking. And is there a space in between it? Yeah, there is. Okay, just double checking. All right, this all looks really good. Let's go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little interesting video. I hope you learned a little bit about coding, about Java. I hope you learned a little bit about me as a person. Kind of going through. This is kind of like a lecture of sorts. So yeah, super interesting stuff. I will see you guys in another video. If you like this, I'll do more. Should I censor myself? Should I go back and take out the bad words? That's not really who I am as a person. But I should probably specify this, because there might be some like teachers and students, more importantly teachers, who think like, oh, this is a good educational video, and then I just blurt out like shit like 6 times. Well, I don't know. Anyways, peace out. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.